The following videos were originally released in 2009 and do not necessarily express the current views and attitude of the uploader. Also, the original roster video is missing, but the roster itself is displayed within the first video.
Hello, this is Pizza Dude Man. Before we begin the next video, Jeff has requested that he and his girlfriend have the ability to teleport. Alright?
Bye.
1, 2... Wow, it's like magic. How do you guys feel?
Lighter. Can we come back? I'm scared now. In fact, I have a weird feeling. We're back. I'm back. I'm holding on for dear life now.
Well, now that's out of the way, let's move on to the video. First, I need to thank my friend, the Dark 342, for touching up my roster picture last night. So, before we dive right into character movesets, let's take a look at roster changes. Well, every character from Brawl returns except Ness. More on that later. This means there are 16 newcomers, starting with Gino. I've already established that Gino was one of the most wanted characters for Brawl internationally, and was the only one not to make it into the actual game. The most likely reason for this is the fact he's owned by Square Enix, and Sakurai wasn't really looking for third-party characters to put in Smash. Kojima asked if Snake could be in, and Sonic was so overwhelmingly popular in America, he had no choice. But why is Gino so popular? My guess is that he's pretty much the root of all succeeding Mario games, especially the RPG series. Before Super Mario RPG, stars were just a lucky power-up. In RPG, when Gino appears, he immediately explains to us the entire mystery of the stars, and since then, Mario games have been all about stars. Not only that, but in RPG, a game that is commonly regarded as the best of the Mario RPGs, Gino is a sagely wise character that pretty much controls the plot while staying one of the best fighters and magicians on your team. Popular, strong, and magical, Gino is a perfect choice for Brawl. I shouldn't even have to explain King K. Rool. He's the next logical step in the DK character progression as the main villain. Besides Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, he is also the only DK character to be in every Donkey Kong game starting with Country, and is a welcome newcomer in our selection of Nintendo villains. If you've seen my previous rosters, I've insisted that Tingle be in since he's the only Legend of Zelda character besides Link to have his own games. However, one thing ruined it for me. Color-changing Tingle's Love Balloon Trip. Our previous Tingle titles have actually been adventurous and sometimes epic, but now we have a Tingle love story? I'm comparing this to Toon's Zelda, who I didn't take too much notice on before, but now has a starring role in Spirit Tracks. Sorry, Tingle, but I think Toon's Zelda beats you out this time, as Zelda makes her first role as a consistent sidekick. Ridley's another character I don't need to talk too much about. Of all the Metroid villains, or characters for that matter, Ridley is the most recurring and is pretty much Samus's rival. Now there's a bit of controversy that Ridley is too big, but that's completely untrue. Like Bowser and K. Rool, Ridley has been resized many times throughout the Metroid series, even appearing only slightly bigger than Samus. So if Bowser isn't too big, neither is Ridley. I guess I wanted all of the original franchises in Smash to have a second character, save for Yoshi. In F-Zero, there's no better choice than Falcon's own rival, Samurai Goro. Of the many sword styles we see in Brawl, this would be the first katana user, a style much more fluent than the medieval styles we see from Link, Marth, and Ike. Like Falcon, Goro has been in every F-Zero game, and he's the most popular F-Zero choice. Next we have Isaac from Golden Sun. I didn't take too much notice on Golden Sun before because they hadn't come out with a game in so long. However, with the announcement of Golden Sun DS, I was psyched, and I believe that Golden Sun can make a comeback. With that, I threw in the most main character of the series, Isaac, a triple threat with Earth Control, Psi Energy, and Swordsmanship, and a welcome addition to any Smash roster. Another completely new character representing his own series is Starfy. Starfy had a long-running, successful handheld series in Japan starting in the early stages of the Game Boy Advance. The reason he never came to America was because he was declared too Japanese, which may be true. His style of games is incredibly cutesy, and that doesn't appeal too well to American gamers. And if you didn't like the newest Starfy game that came out, don't worry, it's regarded as less than the other 4 games. In spite of that, the Legend of Starfy series is a masterpiece among modern platformers, and the character is fun and adventurous. I threw in one more Star Fox representative, Crystal, for several purposes. While the Star Fox series may not be as big as Mario or Legend of Zelda, it's still a good Miyamoto series. The character Crystal is a nice addition to Smash because of her unique fighting style, the Staff. Crystal became the first Star Fox character in Star Fox games to display skills of close combat. On top of that, Crystal is female, a gender Brawl has a severe lack of. There's an opportunity to welcome a good female newcomer? Let's take it. Next is Ray, from Custom Robo. Custom Robo is a long-running, fun, and addictive Nintendo series, becoming one of my personal favorite party games. Ray, no matter what game, is the iconic Robo of the series. With an arsenal of potential weapons, Ray is the perfect choice from a great Nintendo franchise. This is the end of part 1 of this 2-part video, so I'll see you next time when we start back up with the Pokemon characters. And we're back with part 2 of the roster explanation. Alright, so last time we finished up with Crystal and Ray, so let's move on to Pokemon. These are by far the most difficult characters to choose from. If you saw my older videos, I often made fun of Jigglypuff, calling her useless as a character choice. As it turns out, I was wrong. Not only is Jigglypuff one of the most popular Pokemon in Japan, Jigglypuff is as, if not more, iconic than Pikachu in Japan. I found that taking out Jigglypuff would be like taking out Pikachu. It simply can't happen. Well, this leaves me with either re-adding Mewtwo or having Meowth as a newcomer. Now, I love Mewtwo, but I can see why they took him out. They needed at least one 4th-gen character to balance the fact that their rest were 1st-gen. And of all the 4th-gen, Lucario was definitely the best choice, and Mewtwo's popularity was actually starting to dwindle at the time. Meowth's consistent anime appearances keep his popularity alive. Anime popularity may seem a little unfair, but that's also the story of Pikachu. Meowth is comedic, clever, a bit of a bad guy representative, and in every spin-off Pokemon game, he's something special. Sorry, Mewtwo. You had your chance, but now it's Meowth's time to shine.
Meowth never says die! And I'm gonna win this tournament!
If there's a series that's difficult to pick characters from besides Pokemon, it's Fire Emblem. That's probably because there are so many characters. Do I pick another main character? Do I pick a bad guy? Another swordsman? Something else? Well, it wasn't an easy decision. In the end, I chose Micaiah for several good reasons. 1, she's a main character. 2, she stars in the latest non-remake Fire Emblem game. 3, she doesn't use a sword, but rather light magic, just something completely new. 4, she's female. Now, purely going off of that, I really enjoyed Lynn as a character, but she would be yet another sword user, and she's only been in one game. Now, Micaiah's only been in one game too, but it was the newest game. If another new Fire Emblem game came out and the main character was a unique female, I'd probably replace her with Micaiah as well. For the time being, I believe Micaiah is the most rounded and best Fire Emblem character choice. Well, now we have the Mother series, where I get the most complaints about my roster because I took out Ness. Now, like Mewtwo, I love Ness, but I think these other characters out-prioritize him. I honestly feel that we can't have both Ness and Lucas, because even in the Mother games, they fight the exact same way. The other clone characters can be solved because they really are different, but not Ness and Lucas. They're kind of like the different Links. They're almost perfectly reincarnations of each other. Well, the difference with the Links is that, well, one is an adult and one is a kid. They're both kids, so there's almost no change in strategy between them. Now, I played through both Earthbound and Mother 3, and Mother 3 is simply better. It takes all the emotion of Earthbound and multiplies it. Imagine if you were playing Earthbound and some monster under the influence of Gygas killed Ness's mom before your very eyes, and then Tracy ran after the monster. You never see Tracy again, and years go by as you venture to take down Gygas. The only thing standing in your way is this one minion who's as strong as you are. In your final confrontation with this minion, you eventually discover that it's Tracy, who has been possessed by Gygas and can't remember who she is. Do you fight? What would your mom say? I mean, this is the stuff that Lucas has to go through, and his brother that he must fight is Klaus. One of the best things about all the Mother games is that all of the characters are unique and diverse in how they fight. But in Brawl, we don't get that, because we have both Ness and Lucas who are the same. I want to see two different Mother characters, and I believe the best pair is Lucas and Klaus. Klaus' style is very different from Lucas's, equipped with cybernetic wings, an electricity-enchanted sword, a laser gun, and a shield-killing device. The character himself is faced multiple times in Mother 3, and by the end of the game, the emotion that comes off the fight against Klaus is a strange sensation that while you've been playing as Lucas, you've been feeling Klaus's pain the entire game too. This is what Mother 3 does. Lucas and Klaus are more than just a replacement to Ness. They are worthy successors of Ness. Have you noticed that since Super Smash Bros. Melee, 2 classic characters have been added to the roster? Well, I wanted to keep this tradition, so I added 2 classic characters, starting with Punch-Out's very own Little Mac. Punch-Out was always known as one of the best games on the NES library, and it even had a Super Nintendo sequel. What pushes it over the edge is the incredibly fun and true to the series Punch-Out Wii. Little Mac is a fighter, and we know already that he can take down Donkey Kong. The other classic character I chose is a little strange, but so are Mr. Game & Watch and Rob. Representing the loved Excitebike series, the Excitebiker himself. Now, rumor has it that Sakurai originally planned the Excitebiker before the Ice Climbers in Melee, which would make sense considering the popularity of the games. However, he was unable to think of a good way for him to fight. I was intrigued though and thought of something like this. Now, wouldn't it be interesting and totally unexpected to have a character in Smash who exclusively fights while riding on a motorcycle? Excitebiker should have always been a choice character for Smash Bros. Let's finish up with the addition of the new third-party characters. Metal Gear was one of the best-known and most well-loved games on the NES library, and other third-party series to hold this title include, most notably, Castlevania and Mega Man. These 3 series have something in common, a special history with Nintendo. They all started their initial series on the NES and became icons of their companies. It would be nice to see both Simon Belmont and Mega Man put into Smash as a part of that history. Plus, they both have new and diverse fighting styles. Well, that's it for character selections. Next, we'll talk about individual characters and their moves, including changes to older characters. See you then. Hey, this is Pizza Dude Man. Not a big video, but it came to my attention that I never defined who was a starting character and who was a secret character. So, to define it, this is how it goes. You start out with 30 characters, and there are 20 secret characters. The secret characters are characters who have been traditionally secret throughout the Smash Bros. Series, as well as all third-party characters. Keeping that in mind, this is the starting roster. So everyone else on the roster is a secret character. So that's it for this video. Tune in next time for more SSB4 ideas. Hey, this is Pizza Man. I'm finally coming out with my first new video in a while. And since it has been a while since I've made a video, I've made a lot of considerations for changes for my roster. I thought I might as well just throw them all on there right now to get them out of the way. And then we're gonna probably see some new moveset videos and some updated moveset videos with the huge amount of new games coming out. So first of all, I have actually physically changed my current roster and have replaced 3 of the characters. So I'm just gonna quickly explain the changes right here and now and combine a new roster with an explanation video. The first change I made was that I did just finally replace Lucario with Zoroark. I might have to change his name later if he has an Americanized name, but this was something I was always going to do. You know, there's a lot of debate between Mewtwo and Lucario and who's more deserving, and I would say they're equally deserving and undeserving at the same time. I think if Lucario can replace Mewtwo, and if Mewtwo's thrown in as a villain representative, I don't see a problem with replacing both of them with Zoroark as the next logical step. I feel no regrets about this decision whatsoever. The second one is I've actually wanted to replace my Excitebiker character for a while. Now, I think I did prove that the Excitebiker could be a cool playable character, that he'd be unique, and that you can make a good moveset for him. But he's not like the other choices. He's not an adventurer, or a fighter, or he's not super ambiguous and historical like Mr. Game & Watch and Rob. He has his own franchise, and it's a racing franchise. It's kind of like adding another Animal Crossing character. It's cool because it's a great Nintendo representation, but it's just, I don't think, for Super Smash Bros. For the longest time, I thought I was going to be replacing with Takamaru, but I guess I hope I'm not following a trend here, but I decided to replace him with Sukapon instead. Darth Mario 99 gives a pretty good explanation of Sukapon is, and I think it started actually when I got just a little request for help from my subscriber Whooperboy about adding a historical Nintendo character, kind of like Rob and Mr. Game & Watch. And because for a while he was considering having Pauline from Donkey Kong, and I was the one who made the suggestion to have Sukapon instead, as Nintendo's first successful fighting game character. Now, he was from a later NES game, Joy Mech Fight, that came in the transition from the NES to the Super Nintendo. So while he wasn't that well known, it highlighted some of the NES's best features, and until King of Fighters 1999 had the most playable characters in a fighting game ever, with a roster of 36 playable characters, the main character being Sukapon. A lot of people suspected that he might have been playable in Brawl, which wasn't the case, but it would have been cool. He already has 4 special moves, he's Nintendo's first successful fighting character, and he has an interesting bit of history, maybe even sparking the idea of Nintendo having a fighting game franchise, like Super Smash Bros. So I think that makes sense to me, having Little Mac as a more regular NES character, and then having Sukapon as a more historical one, while still being a fighter, which makes him a little more interesting, I believe. And as for the last of my replacements, I decided I was going to end a couple other of the controversies with my rosters, right? If someone makes a good point, I gotta be willing to change my roster. So here it is. First of all, I decided to replace Simon Belmont. We already have a Konami representative, and I think we already have enough third-party characters. I'm still keeping Geno in there, and we still have Mega Man in there, so that's still double the amount of third-party characters, and I think that's fine. But we don't need a second Konami representative in Simon Belmont. So I looked at a couple of the third-party characters, but none of them are really at the same glory. You know, there's Bomberman, and there's Ryu Hayabusa. Ryu Hayabusa really isn't as up there as those other ones. And as for Bomberman, Bomberman is actually owned by Hudson Soft, and Hudson Soft is owned by Konami. Therefore, if I replace Simon Belmont with Bomberman, it's actually like adding another Konami character. It's kind of like how HAL owns Kirby, but HAL's owned by Nintendo, so technically Kirby's a Nintendo character. Technically, Bomberman is a Konami character, and I often forget that Hudson Soft is owned by Konami. So who did I choose to replace instead? I brought back Ness. He's not like Lucario or any of the other characters who were taking out in Melee. I mean, it wouldn't take too much effort to replace his special moves, and I would make sure that he and Lucas have none of the same moves. Absolutely none. I promise that. Ness is a Smash regular. I can't argue with that. The other guys were all one-timers. Mewtwo, if I replace Lucario, But Ness has been around since the beginning, and the other thing that I thought of this, even if they did come out with an SSB4 and they completely replaced Ness, what does that mean for the next SSB game? They've already said they're not coming out with any more Mother games, so if we wanted to continue representing the Mother series, we'd have to re-add Ness back in anyway. So I might as well just keep Ness in there, right? So I am proud to reintroduce Ness into the roster. The only weird things that this causes is that Lucario is the only character between Brawl and 4 that I've decided to replace, which took a little bit of thinking, but I think that's fine in Lucario's case. And the other that I only have 16 newcomers, as opposed to the 17 I had before. Once again, I don't think that's too bad. We had 13 newcomers between the original and Melee, 15 between Melee and Brawl, 16 this time. I think it's fine. I think there's a lot of good new characters in there. Really important and really popular characters that deserve to be in there, with a few surprises mixed in. So, without further ado, here's the new roster. So, it might be a while before I come out with any major new videos about this roster, but until then, I'll see you next time.